Hey everybody, Dennis here. Well, isn't it a crazy world at the moment where business leaders and owners are having to reassess their situation? And today, what I want to do is share with you some thoughts, some things to think about that may help you strengthen your business, prepare it better for the future, and adapt quickly to the changing environment that we're in. So let's get started. You'll probably recognize this fellow, Charles Darwin, with his theory of evolution. And what did he say? He said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's those most adaptable to change. And the good news is, as humans, we can change, we have choices. So let's have a look at that, choices that will allow us to adapt. We have more choices than we often realize, and even doing nothing is a choice. Not necessarily a good one, but it's a choice. So the more prepared for change we are, the more options we have, and better chance of success, obviously. So let's look at what that means in terms of a business. If on the bottom scale, the bottom axis, we have a timeline, and on the vertical axis, we have business health, dollars if you like, then I've plotted a blue line that I call a survival line. And if we look at what different options businesses have, some have the option through good luck often that the changing environment, business environment, isn't affecting too much. They're plodding along businesses as usual. There's others that are more susceptible to what's happening in the environment, especially now that we've had this COVID-19 thing happening, where lots of business have been affected and they've taken a big hit. They've had a big bit of a dip, and they're striving to survive. They're doing everything they can. There are other businesses that no matter what they try, particularly if they're not well prepared, they've been hit hard and they've had no option. They've taken a dive. They've failed, out of business forever. So there are three potential options. And the fourth option, either through good luck or good management, there's some businesses that are surviving, and more than surviving, they're thriving. Businesses going gangbusters and they're growing. But we can't rely on luck as a business strategy. So what we want to do is have a look at, if you're not on that thrive line, if you're on the strive or survive line, you haven't already failed and gone down the dive, what could you do potentially to help you move towards or up that thrive line? And that's what we want to have a look at today. So if you think about it, what limits how fast you can get on or go up that thrive line and survive and grow? Shouldn't say survive, it's actually grow. I think there are 5 key things. The first thing is strategic and effective leadership. Again, not business by luck, but business by strategy. So that's number 1. Number 2 is access to customers. We need new customers. If the business is to continue growing, we need new customers. The next is skilled labour, skilled people, so skilled employees, I should say. The next one, we need access to money to invest in plant and equipment, for example. And lastly, but not leastly, in fact, very important, is we need to be able to acquire new knowledge and apply that so that the business doesn't just plateau, because if we're not continually moving forward, we're actually slipping behind. So in the current environment, for some of my clients, what the big issue has been is access to good skilled labour. They advertise, but they can't really get it. In this particular environment now, though, lots of that skilled labour or skilled people that are in secure jobs elsewhere, were in secure jobs elsewhere, but weren't looking for jobs or new employment, are suddenly becoming available. So for the smart, well-prepared ones and ones that are positioning and preparing for the future, the pool of knowledge is becoming more available. And in fact, if we have a look at what happens in the situation where one company fails, what happens to their people, their plant and equipment, and their customers it gets drawn, or some of it at least, gets drawn to those companies that are growing and thriving. So in fact, whole businesses can be acquired. So it's a great time for acquisition if you're in that position to acquire whole businesses and their customers. Opportunity that maybe just hasn't been there before, or not for a long time at least. So what you do early on around this time frame is to make decisions which are going to be critical to your future, to actually help you move towards that thrive line if you're not already on it, or perhaps go the other way. So if I have a think about one particular industry, a particular industry, some players might dive while others plod along and survive, while others are actually thriving. Same industry, why the difference? If adapting is a matter of choice, why the difference? And I think it comes down to a couple of main things. I think the first reason is that some businesses or business owners are too busy, or have been too busy, doing the doing rather than working on the business. And we may have heard that type of thing before, but they've been too busy doing the doing rather than strengthening their business and trying to assess risks and prepare for them. And that doesn't just mean in the case of COVID-19, it means all the time. So the second thing is that they just don't see the risk, and so until a crisis occurs, and or if they saw the risk, then they just don't know how to address it in a structured way. They don't know how to assess it first, then they don't know what to do or how to do it or be proactive. And so the changes in environment mean that they need to evolve or reinvent themselves. And that's primarily what the Masterclass is I'm going to run, a free online Masterclass that you can attend. And that's what it's going to be about. But let me share some thoughts before we even get to that area. John Cotter, Professor of Leadership at Harvard Business School, wrote a book back in 1995 in which he introduced his 8-step process for successful change. I think this is particularly pertinent right at the moment. I'm not going to go through all the steps, but I do want to talk about step number 1 briefly, and that is establish a sense of urgency. And we've all seen what's happened recently. A sense of urgency has been forced upon us. And for some companies, they've taken that dive. For others, it's forced an opportunity. The urgency has forced upon them an opportunity to change in one way or another. And for businesses that can seize that opportunity, it's actually a great opportunity. So business leaders need to be thinking about that. And a key difference in the outcomes in the way people think about those opportunities. And that's why, again, some have dived while others in the same industry have taken off. So you want to be one that doesn't miss the boat. But a sense of urgency is not enough to move up that thrive line. Same industry, all got the same sense of urgency, but why do some thrive? To thrive, you need to be applying a particular strategy and structure. Some businesses, as I said, might go up the thrive line through luck just because their industry happens to be in a growth industry right now where there's lots of demand. But as I said, sense of urgency isn't enough. Strategy and structure is what we require, and that's what I'm going to share a bit with you now. So in order to thrive, firstly, we need to be able to survive. I think that's pretty much a given. In addition to surviving, we need to be able to adapt. Those two things get you so far, but you might be just plateaued if you do those. How do you go up that thrive line? You need to also be applying some form of leverage and growth. And really, to do that, you need to be one of those leaders, and that takes courage to move up that line because you're doing things that others in the industry aren't doing yet. So what helps you with that courage? Certainty and clear direction are things that help you with that. Support from trusted peers and advisors that help bring new knowledge into the business, that helps you set the business benchmark in the industry rather than being one of the followers. So let's look at some key levers that help you address these. The first lever is understanding the business environment and try to remove a lot of that noise that's going on so we go from clouded to clear. And we want to do that in a systematic and structured way. We don't want to just, have a look here, have a look there. We want some approach, some systemized approach to be able to do that so we can try and see things that others just don't see. On the other side of survive is identifying opportunities. And what we want to do there is not just identify thousands of opportunities. There are thousands of opportunities, countless opportunities. But we want to take an approach, again, that's structured. And we want to be able to go from just doing that in a random way, what can we do now, what are the opportunities, to following some systematic way. So we go from random to methodical. Because if you think about it, of all the opportunities out there, they're not all going to be equal. Some are going to be great opportunities, some are going to be time wasters. So we need a method that's reliable, fast, helps us towards success. Now, it's all well and great to be able to go and identify hundreds or tens or thousands of opportunities, but we need to be able to act on them, on the good ones, the valuable ones. We need to implement the change, not just talk about, think about it. We need to take action. So this next one is about implementing the change and capturing the opportunities that are of most value to us, and then implementing them in a systematic way. Again, even the good opportunities aren't going to all be of the same value. So we need some form of method to try and rank them so that we don't waste time. We work on the high value ones first. So we need a structured way of implementing and assessing the opportunities so that we know what we're going to do first, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it right first time. Because again, we don't want to waste time and resources. We don't have infinite resources. We want to be leading up that path, not trying to work our way, trial and error method, if you like. So we want to go from a trial and error method to a proven method. In other words, we need to prioritize and we need to plan. Now, each of these levers have key accelerators. And on the diagram here, I've shown 9 key accelerators, and it's those I want to discuss with you, share with you to help drive your business toward or up that Thrive line. And I'm going to do that in a free online masterclass that you're welcome to attend. And in fact, if what I've been talking about makes sense to you and it's what you need to hear right now, then I invite you to click the button, register for the masterclass, get the link. I look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now, and good business, not good luck.